All right.
Sweet.
What is up, everyone? This is going to be good. I have a special guest here. You guys have seen him playing. Now you're going to hear him talking, which this is going to help anybody that wants to get better at golf. I'm certain of it. Because I haven't seen, me personally, I play a lot of golf with a lot of people. I have not seen anybody's game progress over a matter of 2 years like Callahan here on the call. So let me give you a couple stats. I wrote some stuff down here in case I missed any of this. So currently, you're top five in the nation in Division Two. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Nope. Number four. Okay. You're playing at Anderson University, which is number one in the nation, Division Two.
Yep.
You're a Southern Tide athlete, so you've taken part of the whole NIL stuff, which is
That's right.
awesome. And you just came off a monumental collegiate win, which we're going to certainly dive into, which has led into pretty big announcement into where you're going next year to play golf. But yeah,
Yeah.
anything else you want to add on top of that?
No, super excited to do this. Thanks for setting it up. It's gonna be
No
good.
problem. All right, so where are you headed next year? Because everyone's already going
Y-
to want to know that.
Yeah, next year I'm gonna be using my final year of eligibility to play golf at Clemson. So super excited about that. Super blessed to get the opportunity to play there. Looking forward to being a Tiger next year. So yeah.
I'm a Gamecock fan. That's going to hurt, but I'm still going to root for you. Um, so what's important for you guys to know listening, he's not a hack. You don't play for a top ACC team and suck. But why don't you start with this? Like, how'd you get into golf?
Yeah, so I kind of got into golf just through my dad. My dad loves playing, just with the work and everything. He doesn't get to play too much, but ever since I was a kid, he had me in clubs just because that's something he would love to do. But it was just always something me and dad went and played golf together and just had a good time. But never really started getting serious about it until my sophomore year in high school. Grew up playing basketball and football as well. So did that mess anything up? Sorry, I just got a call.
No, you're good.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so started focusing on golf my sophomore year, just fell in love with it being an individual sport. Was getting a little tired of playing basketball and me messing it up for the team or the team letting me down. So I really just fell in love with the game of golf, about it being an individual sport and if you play bad, it's all on you, or if you play good, it's all on you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So when did you know like you were getting pretty good at this? Like you could actually take it to the next level and play college? Was there like a certain moment other than beating me
Um,
for the first time, which is probably in there, but
yeah, that's right.
I'm just kidding.
Probably only losing to you by a couple. That's when I realized, all right, I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was just honestly super blessed to get a scholarship to come and play at Anderson because I in high school I was not a top player. I mean, going to junior tournaments and just getting worn out by other guys. Yeah, I was definitely not the best. So I was just super blessed and luckily got a scholarship to come play D2 golf at Anderson University.
Sweet. And we're gonna get into like the mental side of when you don't have your best stuff and how you turn it around. So I'm
Yeah.
just letting people know this is where we're going to go in the conversation. That's really going to help you. But golf's so unique in that, like, if I practice basketball or football or any other sport, I'm probably going to get better. And in golf, you can actually practice more and get worse. Um, so, like, was there anything that helped you? Because, well, I guess maybe start with this. Like, what does a typical day look like from a work ethic of someone like you from a
Yeah.
golf standpoint?
For me, like ideally, if I have a full day, and it's just a summer day, would love to get up, early in the morning. For me, it just starts with a quiet time, and then having some breakfast and then heading to the course maybe around 8:30. Would love just to start by working on some short game, doing some putting and chipping drills, and then maybe going to the range and hitting a bag of balls if there's anything I'm working on in my swing, maybe work on that and then would love to just go and play 18, and then come back, eat lunch, and then kind of dive into what my round looks like during that 18. All right, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What do I need to work on? And then maybe spend some time looking at that and focusing on that, practicing on that in the afternoon, and then maybe going back out for an evening nine. So ideally, that's what a good day would look like. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's it's a full-time job, like to be
Right.
good at your level. And then how often do you work out on top of that?
I try to work out 5 days a week.
Mm,
Traveling with golf, that it's a little harder. Just being in a hotel all the time, being in a different city. But
yeah,
ideally, I like to work out 5 days a week. It realistically is probably 3 or 4 times a week though. But on a
okay,
perfect week, it's 5 days.
gotcha. You feel like that helps your game?
Yeah,
Like,
no doubt. I mean, if you want to be the best, you just have to push your way and push your body in different ways. So yeah, just getting stronger in the gym, and focusing on ball speed and swing speed. And then just also being able to stay loose, and keep your body in good shape is just big for being playing at the next level.
yeah, that's good. So I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong here, like last summer was kind of your work coming to fruition summer. Would you agree with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Like you were top 10 in the Carolinas Am, right?
Yep.
Top 10 in the state Am.
Yep.
You were leading the state Am after a couple
We,
rounds.
we won't talk about Saturday.
That's okay. I was so far down that leaderboard, it didn't matter. But it's okay. But yeah, you had a good summer. And then leading up to that, like golf, the thing that is so awesome and a love hate with golf though is how quickly it can turn from one place to another. You know what I
No
mean? Like
doubt.
you can be really hot and then get cold and then find something and then you're hot again. And so you're kind of going through this process this summer if you're trying to build a resume, right? Because you're looking
Yep.
to go major D1. And you guys, you get off to a hot start. Your team wins 5 straight events, which is almost, I feel like that's unheard of in collegiate. Like, what's the record? Or did that tie the record?
We tied the record. Unfortunately, six. No one has ever done six, and we didn't get a six, but we tied the record at five.
Well, I'll blame Reese. I know that wasn't your fault in the sixth tournament, but I'm just teasing. But so I remember, like, we had some conversations around, you needing to make a splash in these tournaments because you got to figure out where you're going next year, right?
Yeah.
And we played your last tournament. You got your first collegiate win. You shot 17 under par. For those of you all local, you'll see it because he's on the front of the Golf Club magazine. You tied a record. You shot 63 in the final round, right?
Yeah.
What did you shoot the first 2 rounds?
I shot 69, 67 the first 2 rounds.
69, 67. All right. So those tournaments, you was 36 on Monday, then 18 on Tuesday, right?
Yep.
All right. I want to talk about Friday prior to that. Friday prior to that, you and I played at Verde.
Yeah.
And is it safe to say that you were a little bit in the wilderness?
I was searching for something after Nelson. What, you beat me 3-2 that day?
I don't know what it was, but I wasn't playing that great. And I was trying to give you some confidence because you weren't playing great either. So kind
Yeah.
of walk through like what was going on in your game. And you had pressure. You have a couple tournaments where you got to make something happen in order for these offers to come through, essentially
Right.
from a big D1 school.
Right.
And that's a lot of pressure. It's not like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm just going to play with my buddies, but I mean, in Verde, which is a very tough course, by the way, where we play, but yeah, I mean, you were hitting it all over the place. But what was kind of going on in your game at that time? Like, what were you searching for?
Yeah, obviously I've been practicing super hard, because there was just so much pressure on the fact that I was talking to some bigger schools, and they were all saying, "Hey, you know what? Look, you've got a good resume. You've got a good ranking as of right now. We're going to kind of watch you these next few tournaments, and that's going to kind of determine whether we'd be interested in taking those next steps with you and having you on a visit and giving you an offer." So, that's just a lot of pressure saying, "Hey, look, I've got SEC schools, and ACC schools looking at me. I have to play good, or I'm not going to school there next year."
Yeah,
Um, so that was a lot of pressure, and I was working really hard because I knew this was one of the biggest tournaments I've ever played in my life. Just from a standpoint of deciding where it's gonna take me the next year. And yeah, so came home from Anderson to Greenville to hang out with Nelson and play some golf with him. And yeah, I did not have it that day. I was hitting it everywhere. He ended up beating me, I think 3-2. I don't think, I know, because I hate losing to him. I remember.
it's all good. But
But
like earlier that
no.
week, like you were at the point where like you were struggling hitting a wedge.
Oh yeah, I was laying the sod over everything. I remember that. I was like, I called Nelson one late night. I was like, "Yo, what do you got for me? Just give me something." But Nelson's always the best. He's been a great friend to me, just always reassuring me, not letting me get too far ahead of myself. Your game's fine. You're gonna play good. So I really do appreciate that about him, just always reassuring me and hyping me up a little more than I deserve.
Well, I appreciate the plug, but now we need to talk about how you filled that gap because, like, I lay sod over stuff too, and I shoot 86, 78. Um, you were laying sod over stuff, and then a couple days later, you go and just rip it and shoot 17 under for 3 rounds. And so there's a couple things here I think are good to know because I know a lot of people they may not sign up for tournaments or not playing golf because they feel like, well, I don't have my best stuff right now, so I don't want to play. But in actuality, like you proved, you can find something in an instant. And I know you shared something with me, like you were playing a practice round on Sunday. Kind of walk through what happened of being in the wilderness by yourself to what happened in the practice round, and then kind of talk us through the tournament.
Yeah, so for y'all who don't know, college tournaments will usually travel Saturday, and then Sunday we'll play a practice round with the team. And yeah, I was not playing my best. I think I ended up shooting 75 in the practice round, which I was not hitting it good at all, but made some birdies and 75 I was definitely not what I needed for these Power 5 schools. But on the last hole, one of my good friends, Daniel, who's on the team, just trying to find something in my swing. He's like, let's just work on taking it a little outside here. I typically play a cut, so let's just take it a little bit outside and then just come across the ball and play that cut that you like playing. So on the 18th hole, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna try to feel like I'm bringing a little bit outside and then cut across it and just trust it. And I did that, and I was just like, nah, I haven't made contact with a ball like that in about a week. Um, and I was just so happy that I found something on the last hole, and it would just save me so much sleep knowing that, all right, I'm gonna stick with this thought for the week, because it felt good. Played the last hole with it, hit some balls on the range after with it, and it felt good. Just knowing that I had something, and yeah, so that's kind of what clicked for me during the practice round, but still had to go get it done that following couple days.
Yeah. So what, like, I know how the mindset anyway, like when I find something in a practice round and I've been struggling, and then I get to the first tee shot the next day, that's normally like the most nerve wracking tee shot because it's like, I'm about to find out if I found something or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So walk us
yeah.
through, like, what was your first couple holes like? Like, when was it confirmed that you had found something?
Yeah, first couple holes for me were a little tough. So the first hole, college golf, it's a shotgun start just because there's so many people. 8 a.m. It's cold. It's in Florida. I think it was like 55 degrees, but it was going to warm up to like 75. So we're sitting there on the first tee, par five, straight away. Got OB left and got water running down the whole right side. So
Mm.
I'm thinking, all right, it's a good birdie opportunity. If I hit a good drive, I'm probably gonna have a 4 iron in. But if I tug this left and it doesn't cut, I'm reteeing. If I overcut it, I'm in the water. I'm gonna try to have to make par. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm just gonna trust the swing thought. And luckily just hit it right down the middle. About a 10-yard fade, exactly what I wanted. So that definitely took some pressure off. So yeah, just continue to stick with that swing thought. And it was just crazy how it ended up working out. It's literally just all God, and then Daniel giving me that swing thought. I would have definitely still been searching for something, but yeah,
Sure. Yeah. So, and that's like, it's hard to describe that shot of confidence that you get when you found something because then it's like, let's go. I don't want daylight to end.
right,
Um,
right,
so you're playing, and then so after your 2 rounds, you shoot 69, 67. Are you
yep,
leading at that point?
I am, yep. I don't remember if it was by one or two, but I was leading by a few, and let me tell you, that was the first time I've ever um, slept with the lead, and it was not fun. Woke up a couple times in the middle of the night, just freaking out, because there was a ton of pressure. I wanted to get this done just because I never had a outright college win. Then also wanted to get it done to prove to these coaches that what, hey, I am a good golfer, and when there's pressure on the line, that I can perform. So yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to mention because luckily, I mean, I've been fortunate a couple of times where like I've won a tournament sleeping with the lead and then I've won one chasing.
yeah,
Chasing is 10 times easier.
Yeah.
because it's not like it's like, well, it's not mine to lose. But in golf, it's really crazy because a lead really doesn't matter at all. Like
Right.
unless it's, I mean, four shots can be, one double and a guy makes two birdies and you're all square. You see what I mean? But
Yep.
what it does do is it limits the competition of who can catch you and who can't.
Yep.
But how did you deal with that mentally? Like not being able to sleep well, knowing the pressure that's on the tournament, and most people would shoot the 75 that day. Well, you not only did that, you shot 63. Um, so like walk us through that.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to have a really good mental coach who's helped me work through a lot of things on the mental aspect of the game. And a lot of stuff we talked about is just controlling the controllables. And for me, that looks like committing to my routine, because I can control my routine, and then committing to controlling my thoughts. And at that point, that's really all you can do. The rest is the Lord's in control. So for me, I just wanted to go out there and I wanted to, commit to every shot. And the first hole went out there and hit it to 15 feet and got a good read on the putt and ended up making that for birdie. And then the next hole knocked it. It's that par five that I started on the first day. Knocked it up there to about 35 feet for eagle and left it a little short, but I had to tap in birdie. So going birdie birdie start, that really just calms your nerves and saying, okay, you know what, it wasn't just a fluke. I still have my swing thought. Swing still feels good, and I can do this. So yeah, from there on, it was, just out. It was lights out from there. Made a lot of birdies coming in down the stretch, so it was super fun, a lot of fun. I'm really blessed, but yeah, just realizing that I can't control what my opponents are doing. All I can control is what I can control. So yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, as a golfer myself and people listening to this, you talk about controlling your thoughts. That's like impossible to do for some people. You know what I mean? Like it's so hard because it's like
Yeah.
you step up on this tee and your your mind can go places like, oh man, I've got a 4-shot lead. Now it's a 6-shot lead. What if I blow it? You know what I mean? So how do you
Right.
can you get a little more granular on that? Like how do you what are there some things that you do to control your thoughts when you're in those type of moments?
Yeah, one thing that one of my friends told me that's really good is you're not in contention until the final two holes of a golf tournament. So thinking about your score is not going to do you any good.
Yep.
So I was just playing as if I had something to win. I wasn't playing as, all right, I'm in the lead, I'm going to control that. Because that's where, especially for me, and I hear a lot of other good golfers talk about when you start playing conservative versus playing aggressive, that's when you start to make mistakes.
Yep.
And I really did have something to gain, trying to win a first college tournament. I just continued to play with that mindset of, all right, I'm going to go out there and see how many birdies I can make. I'm not going to think about what score I'm at or how many I'm leading by. And just remembering all I can control is what I can control. And I'm not in contention to the final two holes, so I'm going to go out there like I'm losing by 3 and just try to make a bunch of birdies.
So how much did you end up winning by?
I ended up winning by 8.
That's tough to stay in it mentally too. When you've got like this landslide lead. Like, was there a point where you're like, I got this before it was over?
Yeah, so the thing for me is I usually always look at my phone during the tournament, and just say, "All right, what am I at? How many more birdies do I need to make? What's the leader doing?"
Mhm.
But that day I just like, "All right, you know what? I'm not gonna look at the leaderboard. I'm just gonna go out there and play my game." And so I was playing with the leaders, thankfully, so I knew what everyone around me was doing. And I didn't know how many I was up on the last hole. And the last hole tough par four. I had I think 168 in, and it was a back left pin, and me and my coach were talking between 9 and 8. We just decided to go 9 and ended up hitting it to 2 feet. And I was like, all right, how much am I up by now? I was like, am I good? He's like, yeah, you're good. So
So
went up
talk
there.
about that walk. Like, I know it's not the Masters. I know it's not, you know what I mean? But still, like, winning's winning. I don't care
Yeah.
what it is. And there's no, I don't think there's any small wins in golf. Like, it's all progression. Like, what was that walk like after you knocked it to 2 feet? Like, just knowing that you had won, like, knowing you had won
Yeah.
and knew, probably started thinking about what's coming after that.
Yeah, it was definitely really special. I mean, I just felt super blessed to be in that position, and just super happy that, a lot of my hard work was paying off. Yeah, it's a really cool feeling, and luckily I had a good pairing that day. So the guys were pretty happy for me to finally get a win. So yeah, it was super super special. Just felt I was super excited to finally get that done.
So how long from win to offer was that from Clemson?
Yeah, so I've been talking to all those schools and I got offered I want to say Thursday morning and I got back Tuesday night at like 11 o'clock. So
Yeah,
went on my visit. I want to say Thursday morning, and then they offered me Thursday around lunchtime.
that's cool. That's
Yeah,
really
man.
cool. So there's a backstory, and I'm a firm believer in this. This doesn't really help from a mindset standpoint, but I think some people just have the clutch gene. You know what I mean? Like they can close stuff out. I feel like you have it, and the reason is like for a little backstory. So Callahan, we've been playing together 5 years,
Yeah, maybe even longer.
maybe even longer, and
Yeah.
so there is the premier event of the summer on the dirt circuit called the Preserve Open. I'm not going to tell you any details about it. All you need to know, it's a very big deal for the Verde Killers, as we call it. So I'm going to walk through what happened. So the first day, Callahan and I are paired together, which I love. We should be. We're the kind of the two favorites, I guess. And the first nine, I think I shot 3 under and you shot 2 over.
Okay.
You were down 5. We hit our tee shots on 10, and you let out like this African lion roar that I think you can probably hear in Georgia. Um, and then you went out and shot like, what'd you shoot? 4 under that side?
Yeah, I think so.
Or 5 under? 4 or 5 under that side. Anyway, you
Yeah.
shot 2 under, and I shot like 2 over that side. And anyway, you ended up having a 2 shot lead, in the final day. So we're just cruising, both kind of playing good. And I think after 9 holes, it became a 2-man race, right? It was
Right.
Reese was out of it at that point. I think Brad, Tets, a couple other guys, they were out. And so it was down to me and you. And we're on number 12. And you go from being up 3. No. You go from being up 2 to me to down 3 to me in 2 holes.
Wow.
Um, but and that's what most people, oh, it's over, bad day, whatever, especially like mean, that's my home course too. I'm not going to panic coming in or try not to panic anyway. I've had
Right.
experience winning there. But he proceeds to birdie the last 4 to get in a playoff and then birdies the playoff hole on me to beat me. Which I, at that point, like, yeah, it was frustrating at the end because I knew I was going to have to stroke a check for membership now because that tournament's for free membership. But at that point, I was like, he's got it. He's got they like, and so talk about this from a mental standpoint. When things aren't going well in a round, how do you stay in it mentally? Because I see so many people just check out.
Yeah. I mean, for me, there's always something, whether it was junior golf, trying to move up in the South Carolina junior rankings, or now in college golf, whether that was playing for an offer or trying to finish number 1 in the nation. That's scoring average. So last week, we had a tournament and Tuesday wasn't playing my best. I was within a couple of the lead going into the final round and then just wasn't hitting it well Tuesday. But you just got to remind yourself, you know what, you can't throw in the towel. There's more on the line than just one bad round. And for me, it was that scoring average, that just that one shot can make a difference from being number 1 in the nation or being number 2 in the nation at the end of the year. So just finding what really motivates you to play golf and play good golf and realize that, it could come down in a couple months to a couple shots. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. So what is your stroke average this year in college? Just out of curiosity.
I want to say it's at like 70.4.
That's getting it. Especially because I remember if it's anything like when I was in college, man, you're wearing like 3 layers for the first round on Monday. Then by the afternoon, you're in shorts and a short sleeve shirt. You know what I mean? Like a lot changes. And
Right.
you guys were getting to ride karts, or you walking all 36?
Depends on the course. It's usually about
Okay,
half an hour.
gotcha. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, what do you kind of the last question on the mental side, like what do you feel like? Is there anything you feel like separates your game or that you've learned like, hey, this gives me a mental edge against other players? Especially now that you've got your first win, big win under your belt. It's like, hey, you've got that checked off. Now it's just
Right.
getting enough opportunities to do it again. Is there anything else on the mental side that you say like, yeah, I was here and this helped me get to here, or anything on that?
Um, I would say one big thing is um just having something that you're committed to. I know I talked little bit about that earlier. And for me, that was just committing to practice week in and week out and being consistent and what that looked like. And then just also committing every tournament, every shot to, hey, I'm going to play my best no matter what we're at. And just staying absolutely committed to that. Yeah, and just leaving the rest to the Lord.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. We'll be at Verde. And when you finish number 9, you drive up, and the range is on the left, and the short game area is on the right. Um, the range is always packed to the nines, and there's
Yeah.
like no one chipping.
Yeah.
How do you balance that in your practice as far as like your scoring? Like, how do you feel? Which side of that coin impacts you more? You know, the
Yeah.
chipping. How do they feed off each other? I guess too.
No doubt. I mean, Nelson said it for a while, but a hot putter covers a multitude of bad golf. So, if your short game's on, it can cover a lot of missed greens. I saw a stat yesterday that said Rory last year was 75th in greens and regulation, and Jim Furyk was number one in greens and regulation. And I think Rory made 3 million last year, and Jim Furyk made like 300,000. So it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how well you're striking the ball, you still got to chip and putt well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just learning that short game ultimately is gonna make up for a lot of bad golf. It you need to put in a lot of time on the practice screen.
Do you feel like your confidence on the short game side leads to the long game?
Yes, because especially going for it in instances in par fives, you're like, all right, even if I miss it, um, in the trap or just miss the green, I feel pretty confident in getting up and down. So that just frees you up knowing that, hey, you know what? If I miss the green, it's not that big of a deal because I'm confident in the way I'm chipping and putting right now. I don't have to hit the green every single time. So yeah, I would say for sure.
Awesome. That's cool. So I know
Yeah.
your aspirations don't end at college, right? That's part of your
Right.
reason for wanting to go D1. So kind of talk about what in your eyes, like what are some of your goals for the future now with golf?
Yeah. So next year at Clemson, I'm super excited. And I'm actually going to live there this summer and start training at the facilities this summer. So super excited about that. And I told myself I'm just going to try to give it my all this summer and see where that gets me, and then hopefully turn pro right after that. I don't know what tour I'll end up on starting on, but yeah, just going to go hard at it as I can, starting this summer and just see where that takes me.
Love it. And you got some big amateur stuff you're playing, and you're playing in the Azalea in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Did
super
Tony
excited
Romo
about
get
that.
back to you about playing a practice round with you?
He did not yet. I'm a little upset about that. I DM'd Tony Romo. There's a big amateur tournament coming up down in Charleston, and I DM'd Tony Romo. I was like, "Hey, you want to play the practice round together?" He didn't get back to me yet, so a little upset about that.
Yeah, that just means you're gonna have to smoke him. So
That's right. That's right.
I'm sure you won't have a problem doing. Um, well, man, appreciate it. And obviously, this will not, guys, this will not be the last you see of Callahan. We'll probably do some encore stuff with him too, because his work ethic is incredible, but he's even more incredible of a person, which is why we associate with him. You're probably wondering, how does Dan fit in this mix? I don't know. I'm just kidding, Dan. I know you'll be seeing this, but yeah, it'll be cool. We'll have to do some stuff together this summer. And play and practice. Wish you the best of luck, man. I know you got great things ahead of you, and excited to see you on tour one day.
Thanks, Nelly. This meant a lot. Thanks for doing this.
No problem.